One of the biggest causes of frustration in any long term relationship is when one or both partners feel that the other person is not fulfilling their needs or meeting their expectations. If you want to successfully deal with this common relationship issue, you first need to understand that we all have legitimate needs. The reason we often feel frustrated is not due to the needs per se, but because we do not always communicate our needs clearly to the other person. We often disguise them as vague statements, and we hope that the other person will pick up on them or maybe read between the lines. Most of the time, though, our partners are quite oblivious to our hidden meanings, leaving us extremely frustrated. And this frustration can be reduced significantly if we learn to communicate our legitimate needs gently but clearly, instead of throwing out hints in the hope that our partner will just pick them up. However, legitimate needs can sometimes change into expectations, and that is when the real problems start. Everyone enters marriage with a lot of dreams and desires, ideas about the way we would like things to be. You imagine, for instance, that one day you'll live in a nice big house and that you'll come home and everything will be neat and it will be tidy, just like the house in which you grew up. And you dream about how you would spend your time together and you talk about all these things before you get married. But then, somewhere after the honeymoon, somewhere probably close to where being in love is changed to love, there usually comes a point where often legitimate needs and desires become expectations. And before you got married, you only dreamt about doing things in a certain way. Now that you are married, you expect that it should be that way. And it's usually your way. And this will change the dynamics of your relationship radically. Because it is no longer about what is best for the other person, but about what you want. It changes from, I would really like it if you did this or that, to, she's supposed to keep the house clean. But when I get home, there are toys everywhere and the whole kitchen is full of dirty dishes. Or he's supposed to do the DIY in the house, but there's always something that's broken. It goes from, how can I help you, to, you not fulfilling my needs anymore. And then comes the automatic step of, he's not doing his part anymore, so I'm not going to do mine either. And it's now become all about you. And usually, if people continue with this thinking pattern, it will not be long before they say, he or she doesn't make me happy anymore. And this is the fallacy that's underlying to this whole issue, that our partner is supposed to make us happy by fulfilling our expectations. Ultimately, though, no one can make someone else happy. If you constantly look to someone else to make you happy, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, and you are being unfair towards them as well. In addition, you've got to remember that you didn't marry your partner so that they could fulfill your needs. You married them so that you could fulfill theirs. Or that is at least what you said. We call the promises you make at your wedding, we call them vows, not contracts. A wedding vow is a promise you make to love and to cherish the other person. This vow is not dependent on whether the other person also makes a vow or not. Otherwise, it would be called a wedding promise or a wedding contract. The nature of a vow is that you commit yourself to something or to someone. And in the case of a wedding vow, it means that you will put your partner's interests above your own, that you will love them unconditionally. One of the biggest problems with expectations is the fact that it is the opposite of unconditional love, the environment in which intimacy will flourish, because you are putting conditions on your love. And therefore, even if your partner did exactly what you expected of them, they would only fulfill their part of the deal. They would only do what is expected of them. And there's nothing amazing or wow or unconditional about that at all. If they don't do it, then they're in trouble, which means it is totally conditional. In other words, by expecting something you desire from your partner, you are taking love out of the equation and replacing it with a contract. Nothing more than you would have with a landlord or with a mortgage company. However, when you remain true to your vows, when you keep serving your partner and asking how you could help him or her, regardless of whether they keep their promises, you are going to increase the chances of intimacy in your marriage significantly. So it's time for your homework. Tell your partner about a desire or a need that you have on a regular basis, which you may not have communicated clearly to them in the past. Don't accuse them of not meeting your needs. Just share honestly and clearly one thing that would make a big difference for you personally if that was done. In other words, tell your partner your biggest current need.